where would it go to the water from there? Oh, right to here, this little like level. Off of this road, probably.
Yeah, there's not much water over there.
Tiny little spot.
Or something.
Yeah.
You guys are live.
Okay, call to order. Roll call.
Barry, Joe, Connor, Nate, Sam, Sarah, and Mark. All members present.
Review and approval of previous meeting minutes, October 2nd.
Yeah.
You have Barry with a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Connor with the second.
All in favor? Aye. Correspondence and public comment? Any?
I included the Coast Guard's notification that they're suspending after the second revision that they put out on the buoy modernization proposal, that they've now suspended based on public comment all of their plans with that. That's the only correspondence I have for you.
Okay,
Nobody from the public.
like that. Old business on the boat ramp?
Yes, your old friend is about to leave. As of today, or I'm sorry, as of what is today? Tuesday? As of yesterday, we've completed the boat ramp project. The stone was removed. I have a video that I couldn't send you guys, but I did send you guys some pictures just so you could see the quantity that was pulled out of there. But it was like waist deep when he was standing on it at low tide. And it was probably 3 to 5 feet after the riprap that they installed, various sizes. But that was the last remaining item on that punch list. So your next agenda will remove that.
Love it.
Mike, I know you'll miss it.
After 27 years, why not? And things can't last forever, but they get close. Okay, boat ramp. Harbor management plan.
The saga continues. There's been more from DEM. They continue to assert that they have authority over things outside of water quality. So the solicitor's office is involved. From the planning department, unless something changes, they've made any modifications that they felt were pertinent to DEM's authority and jurisdiction. And so we'll wait to see how that goes.
Good. Better them than us.
So, and CRMC's been copied on the correspondence, so I assume they're aware, but haven't heard anything specific from them.
The online GIS-based map showing rights away.
Yeah, this was something that you guys wanted to break off as a separate item, so I'll leave that going forward until we discuss otherwise. I will note that Jay Parker is no longer working for the town. He accepted a job in the private sector doing planning work. We do have a new planner who was hired that also has GIS background and experience. My understanding is it would kind of be like a dual role where she'll do what Carol did, who also retired, as well as be a planner. I don't know what the plans are for replacing Jay and or another planner. So I don't know if the new girl that they hired is up on this kind of stuff. If once she gets kind of up and running, that we can bring her into the conversation maybe in the new year and see if there's anything that she can provide to help you guys along the way or not. But then Nate had sent something today, which I forwarded out to you folks. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but if Nate wants to.
Yeah, so one of the hanging items was giving Jay, before he left, directions on what we wanted to show on there, like the attributes of the sites, and sort of some guidance on what the viewer looks like after he showed us a template. That email had some language about it, which I can briefly explain. It had a list of the variables, which were very, a small list. It's like the code that matches with the harbor management document, the name of the place, and then whether it's who owns it, is essentially the things that are in there. And then it had directions to them to have some sort of text or pop-up or landing that explains this is just list A, here's where you go to find out more about this list and list B and the rest of our right-of-way stuff in this harbor management plan. And so it was directions I was hoping that we could send to whoever is pushing along this GIS idea for the town rights of way. So I don't know if we do anything other than can you send it to the new person and say, hey.
Yeah, I can have a conversation and see
Yeah.
what their, I don't know where they are with their footing now that they've lost their deputy, and also we're down a planner,
Yeah.
hired someone new, down someone GIS. So I don't know where they are in their workload, but I'm happy to have a conversation with them and just see where it falls on their radar, and if there's anybody that has that skill set that can work on that. And maybe it's not the one he was working on, maybe they can be incorporated into the new GIS program. Maybe that's the route we might have to take, where we give that information to the software company and maybe they develop it through the active GIS program that the town has already contracted with, because we changed recently to a new company
For the
and a new
partial
program.
stuff.
But it seems like this one's more robust and quicker, so they may be able to build, it may be something that's easier for them to just build out rather than come up with it from scratch like Jay was doing.
I think it's the same general system that Jay was working in, it's ArcGIS online
Okay.
and stuff. But, it's a good question for them. Like, hey,
Yeah.
what this viewer theoretically could live in that same world. So,
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll re-engage with and see where they stand on it and what availability they have for resources, and if possible, maybe if there is somebody who has that skill set that could work on it when they have availability,
Yeah.
they could come in and sit and talk with you folks in the in the new year, and maybe we can kind of restart that.
Yeah.
Okay. D on the rights of way.
So we're moving, not as quickly as I would like. We did get a permit from CRMC to hopefully eradicate, but at least mitigate the knotweed. So we have a permit to do chemical treatments down there. That was started this fall. It's a multi-treatment process. As part of the kayak rack proposal, CRMC would like before they issue a permit, I don't remember if we talked about this, I think we did, but they want to have some stormwater management on site, and also because we're removing the vegetation with the knotweed, they want a planting plan of native species to replace the knotweed. Public Services, Rich Bourbonnais, and Todd are working on that. Rich has that skill set with landscape architecture background, engineering. So they think that it's a relatively low lift to do the stormwater management. They're thinking like something kind of like what they did along Torrey Road and Middlebridge, those kind of like baffled ditch thing that would go all the way to the right, kind of shift that laneway, roadway more to the north, and then the kayak racks and then the plantings would fill in. So it's a matter of getting those plans sketched out and submitted, and then that work hopefully done over the winter down there. I'm just waiting for the software company still, the mooring software company. They did put the module in. I can see it, I can access it, but they wanted to do some more tweaks with that. That hasn't been finalized. I'm waiting to hear back from them on that. The CTE program at the high school, which we were hopefully gonna have them do the building of the racks. That was something the town council wanted to see, and they agreed to it, at least initially. Now they're saying that the carpentry one probably can't do it, maybe carpentry 2 could do it, and I said, well, please let me know, and if not, then maybe in the spring they might be able to do it. So I've moved to the next plan, because it seems very uncertain to me. I think it's a great idea, and I would love to see that happen, but I don't feel very confident that we can deliver in the timeline we need for the spring. So the facilities department just did a great job building the kiosk at Warden's Pond by the CD3 machine for the grant we received. So I've asked them if they could take a look at what we're looking to do and see if maybe they actually have a guy that's a carpenter on staff. Maybe they can look at putting that together, or else maybe the parks department in the off season or something like that. So, which is initially kind of the way we were gonna go anyway.
But you gotta wait for all like the site grading and all that stuff to happen.
Yeah, but I think they can design the,
Rack.
it's such a simple thing that really, I mean, it's 4x4s and probably 2x6s. It's, I don't think it's a heavy lift. It's more just knowing how much space they have.
Yeah.
So I'll keep, knocking on the door there and try and get that moving. I really, I'd like March would be kind of everything needs to be out the door and done. But all I can do is ask. So that's where we are.
Okay. Boats and waterway ordinance revisions, updates.
I re-included, just because we didn't have much new business tonight, I re-included what Sam had provided, and also you guys were light on attendance the other meetings when we briefly discussed it, so totally up to you folks if you want to discuss that or table it to the next one or whatever you want to do.
Any thoughts?
I don't have any additional thoughts. I mean, I think at one point we talked about looking at maybe setting up a working session for some of these to dive into them. I don't know if we want to look at, since we don't meet in December, we don't meet again until January, if we want to try to set up just a working session in December, how people feel about that. But I'd be open to doing that, to dig into it.
Do we need a quorum to do that work session?
Yeah, you would pick a date and it would be posted,
Okay.
just like any other meeting, just
Okay.
as a work session, just like we did with the holiday plan.
Yeah. What do people think about doing something in December and or January?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I could transcribe the changes in a Word doc like I did last time,
Mhm.
if that's a helpful
Yeah.
function.
Yeah, it'd be a good starting point for that session.
We already
So
have the document that you and Sarah
Yeah.
had worked on,
Yeah.
minus the kayak rack stuff. That other stuff is still in there.
Right.
You could take
I
it
can
as a whole.
Find that and send it. It has some of the changes already. We actually took
Right.
a lot of that out to just focus on that boat rack
Yeah.
thing. And so I can resurrect the older one and then we could work off that.
So we advertise it, but we don't need a quorum, do we? If we want to
Yeah,
do a
you
work
need a
session.
quorum for the meeting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's too bad. Okay, well,
Well, it's only 4 people.
it's a busy month, but,
If you get 4 people together, if you're planning a meeting.
it's tough. You wanna try it?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, December's actually good for me I'm not traveling at all, so I'll be around for the whole month. But I don't know, Mike, if you want to send out a poll and try to find. a
Yeah, I
common
mean,
time.
you guys, obviously, probably the later we get in the month,
Yeah,
the more
gets
difficult
funny.
it is there somebody, like if somebody's like, I'm not here the first week or the second week, or, I mean,
I'm
you
going.
just have thoughts? Do you want me to send out the whole month? Do you want to keep it to Thursday nights? There's, I can pick every day of the month, or if you guys kind of know, like, these nights don't work or whatever.
I'm gone the second week
Okay.
of December.
Just can't do Mondays and Fridays.
Okay. Does Thursday work for everybody? Like, do you want to just hold your standing first Thursday of the month meeting? That would be the 4th.
Yeah. Fine with me.
That seems to be,
Yes.
I mean, I can send out a poll with more dates if you want,
No.
or if
Yeah,
that works,
that
then we'll
works for
just
me.
schedule the 4th.
Works for me.
Okay. So it'd be a work session on ordinance changes.
Mhm. The survey and monumentation.
Yeah, I'm working through that now to get that out the door. One thing that did kind of come up as I worked through it, so in talking with Rich, rather than just doing the Charlestown Beach Road saga, we thought maybe pick more, put the whole thing out to bid. If the funding isn't enough, we can scale it back. Which I didn't realize we could just kind of throw it all at the wall and see what sticks. But he seems to think that that's acceptable. So as I work through that, one of the things, there's a list in the list A. There are ones that are quote list A that are rights of way. But when you go there, you can't really access the water. So my thought is, and you folks let me know if you want me to go that route or if you want me to do all list A, but my thought was if you can't walk down to the water safely, I wouldn't include it for survey and monumentation at this point. And we could, if there's more funds available, we've requested more funds again this year, we could go back at those and maybe kind of come up with your improvements. Like some of the ones that come to mind, like the Hillcrest, Atlantic Ave, you know, like you get to the end of the road, it's just bushes, woods, it's a cliff, whatever. So I thought, you know, we'll hit the first round, see how that comes back, but we'll do all the ones along the shore, the ones along the river, narrow river, the ones around Potter Pond that you walk right down to the water that are all good, and clean and clear. And then we'll get those surveyed and monumented, hopefully. And then go back at some of those other list A ones and decide how you want to move on those. But I'm open to suggestions, however, whatever you guys think.
Are those all those on the original list from ages ago?
Yeah.
Prioritized list?
Yep. Well, I wouldn't call it prioritized, but the list
Well,
A.
we put them up such that we would address them first, like along Middle Bridge and stuff.
Oh, I don't, like when you were doing John Street and that type of stuff,
Yeah.
I don't know if that exists.
Okay.
I haven't seen that.
Right.
I think it was kind of like an ad hoc thing depending on the commission, what you guys felt rose to the top, because you did the Twin Peninsula one.
Right.
At one point.
Yep.
That was high on the priority list.
Yeah, there was a
so.
lot of encroachment going on down that way.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had my interview with the council last week, just to renew my term on the commission. And this came up in the interview, and they're really obviously eager to see our recommendations for, or guidance for, you know, developing parking once all of this is done, because they're really keen to try to get more public access and other than just walking and biking to some of these spots. So just putting that out there on your radar. It was, you know, surprised at how many comments I got from them, but they're paying pretty close attention to this, which I think is a good thing.
That they should go to the traffic commission.
Yep. But I also
Traffic
reminded
commission
them,
doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, great.
I also reminded them that in the harbor management plan for every public access point, there's actually improvement recommendations for things like, you know, potential opportunities for parking here and things like that that are in the HMP, so.
I think it's a good instinct to want to improve parking there, but the danger in my mind is you fall into designating parking in places, which actually makes it more restrictive than what currently exists, and I worry about that. Like, oh well, we'll make it 5 spots there. Well, before the road had no ordinance on it. In theory, there was 50, and so as that goes along, I think it's great, but avoid the designate parking as much as maybe CD available or something. You know, changing that language would help us, or else it's going to be like, well, you only need 2, you know, and all of a sudden we end up restricting parking when maybe that's not everybody's goal.
Yeah, I agree.
Throwing it out there.
I'm more just giving an FYI to you all
Yeah.
that it's, you know, front of mind for them, and that's what they're thinking about, and they're going to be seeking, you know, guidance from this commission down the road. So.
Yeah, this issue came up with Harry Winkle in the highway department.
That's another one where it's technically a right of way, but
Right.
do we really want to encourage people to be clambering over the rocks to go down? And we also have that NASA agreement
Right.
hanging out there that's supposed to provide
The 2 spots.
public access,
Right.
which he hasn't done any work over there
Parking
yet. but-
access.
Parking access, right.
Yeah. I'm just a little reticent to get directly involved in the parking because we don't have the knowledge base to go around and look at it and say, well, you could do this and that, and check with the neighbors and all that. That's really a highway department thing. We can get them in the water, but not down the land side, so.
Yeah, I mean, the legal landscape of it all too is outside of our
Exactly.
expertise.
Yeah.
But I agree, but I'm just more wanting to carry that message back to you all, cause
Yep.
I was surprised at how many questions about it I got.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's, you know, our end of getting wet, and then the rest of it has just
Yep.
been ignored.
Yeah.
In the popular media, it's like the town of Barrington was trying to match signage with ordinances, and they're having mismatches. And so like, one of those things, like whoever is the new transport committee, it sounds like we don't have a road and transport committee, figuring out
Yeah.
which group is doing that function, and
Probably the highway
simple
department.
stuff like that. You could map your parking ordinances instead of just have text. You know, there's little things they could do.
Yeah.
Your question about surveying, I mean, survey them all is, you know, it's gonna come up eventually, whether someone wants to do something somewhere, or there's dispute on a property line in any of them, even the ones you can't get to. So I would, all of them, but yeah, as you go backwards, maybe those are the first to go off the list.
Yeah.
Work your
So
way
maybe I'll do like which is kind of what I already had done, like I did the Charlestown Beach Road and everything off of that, working off of what the planning, what GIS and the building and the tax assessor had put together, and I have those maps all laid out, cross-referencing the old maps with the new maps, and and then I had kind of moved on to like another page further down where I started just basically moving east and grabbing the ones along the shore, Green Hill Ave, Green Hill Beach Road, you know, there's another one like the end of Moonstone Beach Road.
Mhm.
Do we need to survey and monument that one? It's federal property on both sides of it, except for that little sliver where the house is, right? So, like those kind of things, do we want to expend? I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be done, but maybe there's like another tier, to your point, where we do the Hillcrest, the Periwinkles,
Yeah.
the Moonstone Beach. Like, if the money's still there, okay, we'll keep rolling, but kind of to your point, all right, this is phase 3 falls off,
Right.
phase 2, okay, we have enough to do phase 2, and obviously the overarching one is the one where we have the issues.
Yeah, no, the prioritized list to match the dollars available. Makes
Yeah,
the most sense.
well then, but then the other thing is, you could also look like, okay, do we wanna expend funds to survey the end of Moonstone Beach Road, or do we wanna expend funds to hire a title search attorney to work on maybe a list B that would be more valuable? Those are kind of I don't think you need to make a decision tonight, but just
Well,
kind of some things to
When
think
you
about.
take Moonstone Beach, it functions fine now.
Right,
So why don't we just leave it alone and save the money, use it for something of a high
right, that's my
priority?
point, but technically Moonstone Beach is on list A, Hillcrest is on list A, so
That's
if you
okay.
say, take all the ones we know that are on list A and survey them, you're expending
I don't,
dollars on, say, Hillcrest, or one of these
I
ones
don't
that
think-
when it's done, you can't use it.
well, that's just it, it may be on list A, but we can decide that
Right.
the priority of the money goes to the things that are gonna provide the most service.
Right, that's my question.
Right, I
Yeah.
think you should
I
go that
don't
way.
wanna just say, well, list A is
No.
the one to do because it's list A.
Right. No.
Okay.
If it makes everybody feel better, we'll move it to list B. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
just match the money to the priority. And
okay,
like John Street and those were the best thing for us to do at the
Yeah.
time.
yeah,
Because there were issues down there, and same with Twin Peninsula.
yeah,
But now, you know, especially Moonstone, that's.
yeah, I just use that as an
Yeah.
example, cause as you move east, that's one of them,
Right.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
anyway, okay. That's kinda where I was thinking, but I wanted to,
And if anything comes with the companion parking, then jump right on that one.
yeah, yeah,
That way we can, you know, tell the town council, you know, they
Yeah.
can prioritize which ones are gonna serve the most the soonest.
like, I think of things like the access by the trailer to the town beach, right? That's, everybody uses, but technically it's not on list A, or the road, Ocean Ave, that goes down to the steps to East Matunic State Beach, right? We know that right of way is much larger than it presents. You know, those are kind of the things I start to think about, like, is it better to expend funds on that versus
Yeah.
something that already, as you said, is functioning, and there's not much of a chance of a dispute between the abutters.
I think if you apply that logic to each one of the candidates,
Yep.
you'll come up with something that upon inspection looks like, well, we don't need to touch it because it's working.
Yeah.
This
No, I
one-
think it'd be great if we can get more out the door.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Because once the school comes online and you're spending money on that, I imagine the situation's gonna change relative to funds available.
Yeah, I mean, we've requested 15,000 again this year
Yeah.
for it, so
That
we'll
doesn't go-
keep that train going as long as we can.
That doesn't go too far with the
No,
surveyors.
no, it doesn't. No, but now that we've just rolled into the next fiscal year,
Right.
we have 2 years worth of allocation, so
Right.
we can hopefully make a dent in at least some of it. I don't know where that'll go, but
Yeah.
we'll try to get as much as we can.
Okay,
And I don't know how to make your case of doing the work on Charlestown Beach Road. It's good for this right-of-way stuff, but I mean, the town's gonna have to deal, they did an emergency variance to rebuild that road.
Yeah,
last
well, this
year,
will
so-
help in the future.
Yeah, so this effort is in a lot of ways, helping the town. At
Yes.
least get the information to plan
Right.
well beyond public access.
Right. Yeah, the
It's-
roadway
it's a big-
alone will be useful to the town,
You would think.
especially if there's a 100-year storm that removes the road,
Mhm.
right? And what do you do after that? So,
okay. Why don't you just put that list together, massage it? as you
yeah,
decide.
it's all, yeah, I've been talking, I needed help with the engineering lingo from the public services.
Oh.
I'm not an engineer, I can't speak survey lingo, so,
Okay,
yeah, that's well on its way.
good. Parking lot expansion?
It's on Parks list, as they have time in the off-season to work on that.
Mhm.
It's on their radar. They have a bunch of other things that they're working on right now, but I'm pretty optimistic that they're gonna get on that.
Yeah.
It might not be till after they're done doing leaves.
Yeah.
We'll see, but like field stuff is kinda, I think they gotta do some work at Old Mountain Field on the turf, but like for the most part, like their field work is
Yeah.
done, cause youth sports, school sports all have wrapped up on the fields, so.
What is it they got left to do at Marina Park
For the parking lot,
for that lot?
all we've done so far is cleared the trees. Yeah, there's been no, earthwork or
Right.
fence removal, sidewalk removal,
Gotcha.
any of that.
Okay.
That's all gonna be handled
And
in-house.
Is the intent to use any available funds and labor just to get it usable, no surface work?
No, I think because it's being done in-house, they'll go all the way. It's much smaller than what we did with the front half.
But as far as material cost to cover the ground once it's level?
Yeah, I think they'll do that.
Okay.
They'll strip the topsoil, and
Yeah.
they'll put down the gravel and
Okay.
the stone,
All right,
and it will be contiguous to the
Right.
front that we already did
Yep.
when they're done.
great.
Yep. That's the plan anyway,
Was there,
till otherwise informed.
where the existing prepared surface was torn up through tire use, did we talk about any changes to what we would do with the surface?
You're talking about like the stone, like where like
Yeah.
trucks went in there and
Right.
like spun out.
Yeah,
When they can top dress it maybe with some more stone when they come in with the other stone. I mean,
Right.
that's you gotta really be working your
Yeah.
vehicle to move. I mean, that's like inch and a half stone
Right.
that they're picking
Yeah.
up, so.
I didn't know if there were any thoughts at the time when we were looking at it, whether or not to do anything different.
I don't know what you could do different other than pave it.
Right.
I mean, it's stuff that can move. I mean, we brought in a heavy-duty roller from a pavement company, like a vibratory roller, the big,
Yeah.
road one, and they compacted it into the gravel. It was pretty tight when we
Yeah.
left, so.
Right.
I mean, we'll fight that battle
Yeah.
forever until it's a hard,
Yeah,
impervious surface.
Is anybody changing the ordinances to designate the road? Because right now it's a free-for-all.
Yeah, yeah, nobody is. My hope is that over the winter, as that's going simultaneously, we can get a parking ordinance in place. There is a specific parking ordinance for Marina Park already, so it just needs to be added into that. So I think it's pretty simple. It's, you know, parking for vehicles and boat trailers only in designated areas, and you have some type of physical barrier with signs that say parking on beyond this point for vehicles and trailers only.
Yeah.
I
But
think-
that's the only parsing we're doing, because years ago, they started talking about allocating per business, and that didn't work out.
Well, they blew that up when they kept allowing the restaurant to expand,
Right.
because whatever we looked at that when we were doing the lease stuff, I think, where there's X amount of spaces required per table and X amount per slip,
Right,
and it's not there.
No.
So,
And the ordinance changes, in theory, would come from the town engineer office, Rich's office?
probably the police department, I think. I
So we have
mean,
to ask them, hey, can you?
yeah, I would talk to the chief and just, I think it would be helpful to have a visual, you know, like once we kind of are moving, I'll just ask him to meet down there and say, look, this is what we're looking to do. The town engineer can do like a CAD overlay of how many spaces will fit in each spot, and they can, you know, come up with the best way to do that.
alrighty,
That's my opinion anyway.
master plan?
So that's in the capital with funding. I think we talked about the fact that we did get a rough proposal from, someone in the industry, like an actual hard number. The estimate is $200,000. But that's looking at everything. That's looking at, traffic flow, pedestrian safety, roads, sidewalks, connectivity to the other side of the highway, you know, landscaping, public access
That's for the plan.
for the
I
plan.
was like, what?
Yeah,
Seems
so you would just get a
incredibly
nice
low.
thing with stuff, you know, here's what it could be. And then we would have to then pick things out of it and go and say, okay, we need X amount of dollars to, you know, put sidewalks on the business side of the road, things like that. So it remains to be seen where that goes, but it looks like right now, the way the budget's shaking out, I think that the manager's office is looking at parceling it out over 3 years, the manager's office of finance, subject to change based on the council priorities. But they kind of have like the big number and then look at it, what everybody's looking for resources on the capital projects, and kind of divvy it up and allocate it and make the presentation to the town council. So we'll see. They can fund all of it, they can fund part of it, they can fund none of it. But it's in there with a dollar amount, so it's at least from the staff standpoint, it's moving forward.
On the lease docks coming back to the town. Last time we were talking about it, this commission getting ahead of the future of that activity, and then there's discussion of, is it part of the master plan? Any thoughts on that?
So I will just interject that in the interim, apparently we were told that they watched the town council presentation back in September,
Mhm.
and they have requested the option to exercise their 1-year extension of that section for the lease. So that would carry it through till June 30, 2027,
Okay,
before it comes back to the town.
all right, well, we can,
It came up in that interview again last week too. They asked me what I thought of it, and I did say that I honestly thought the master plan would help address that, but I wasn't aware that they were gonna exercise that 1 year.
That's a new that's a new development. There's a lot of things going on in the background with the ownership over there of that marina.
okay, well, we can figure about that for a while.
It buys you a year, and then you'll know also where you stand on the master plan. Does it get funded entirely and it's moving? Is it, a few years out?
So they exercised, and they can, there's.
It was in their lease, so initially when they were informed that the lease was terminating, at the end of the lease term, that they were notified, and then that was the end of it.
Yeah.
And then just recently, they requested to exercise their option to extend for 1 year, which is part of their lease. So all the leases down there historically were 15-year leases with an option to extend for 5 years. And then it got a little bit funky in the last renewal where different businesses were getting different leases. So Rand Point has a 30-year for their property, their main property, with no extension option, because they wanted that so that they can make improvements, and then they subsequently sold it. Because they said they couldn't get a bank loan or whatever. And then I think Marina Bay stayed 15 with an option for 5. I think Stone Cove might be 20, and I'm not sure if he has an extension. I think the restaurant's 15 with an extension for 5. The yacht club, I think, is still is a 15 with an extension for 5. So anyway, so it's not uncommon that there's an extension provision in the lease.
Good.
So I don't know if they were newly informed about it after they watched that, or if they just were delayed in exercising it, or what. But they were. We've been told that they watched that town council meeting.
Okay, new business, you got the new calendar, thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I'll note is in January, it's the first is the first Thursday, so it's the 8th, I think. And you folks have talked about July. I left it as, I think it's the first, the date. Fall, right? Does it fall the
Oh,
first
yeah,
one?
the second.
Or the second? I know we had talked about maybe putting that in a subsequent week in July. It's entirely up to you guys. You can, figure that out when the time gets closer, or if you know for sure, we can make that change ahead of time.
Yeah, what was the issue this year with it?
I think this year was on the 4th.
Oh,
But we always bump up into this, I think we've had this conversation a bunch of times, but I don't understand why we don't meet in August and December, because those
Instead of
don't have hot,
January.
but January and July, you're always bumping up against the holiday the first week of the month. So you have the first of the year and you have July 4th. So I don't understand why that's the way it went. It would make more sense in my mind that it was the other way, but everybody seems to be happy with that, and that's fine. And in July, if we don't have new business and we don't have a quorum, historically, we've canceled at times.
Yeah, it sounds like a 4-day weekend to me, so.
Yeah,
We had VJ Day floating around in the August.
yeah, you do. That's, I think, later in the month.
Yeah,
I don't think it's the first
14th
week.
or something.
Yeah. Anyway, that's where we've been. I only moved the date that conflicted with the holiday. But it's there for your folks' consideration, to maintain, to change, whatever.
I mean, I'm fine. I'm better meeting in August and December than I am in January and July, like for those dates. If, I don't know if other people feel the same way, and if they do, then maybe we just make a motion and change the schedule.
Yeah, I'd second that.
I have no problem with that.
I have no preferences.
Does anyone have any objections to that?
no?
All right, so
So you'd like to switch the no meeting in
Yeah.
August to no meeting in July, and the no meeting in December to no meeting in January?
Yep.
Seems reasonable to me. I don't know why that couldn't happen.
Starting in 2026.
Yep.
Starting in 26, we don't meet in December and January.
Or we meet in.
Well, so you wouldn't meet, well, you're gonna have a work session
Don't
in,
start.
you're gonna have a work session in December, so you'll meet in December this year.
Right.
You won't meet in January,
Got it.
Yep.
and then you won't meet in July,
Yep.
and then you'll meet in December. I'll send you a reminder, Nate. So we're switching December for January, and we're switching August for July. Now Barry can have a 4-week weekend instead of a 4-day weekend.
Okay, well, you already did your house masses report, right?
If that's what you want me to say.
Beats me.
What's I was reading the minutes from last meeting, what's the jet dock?
So we were authorized to get a jet dock for the new boat. It's just like what you see for the jet skis, where they just drive them up onto like a plastic float.
Yeah.
It's just a bigger version of that. So the boat will just dry right up on that. There's just a little like relief switch. The back end sinks down a little bit, and you power off, you power back on, flip the switch, the ballast tanks fill up the aft end of it, and the whole boat sits up out of the water. Maintenance,
No foul.
preservation of the asset, don't have to worry about ice, don't have to worry about zincs, don't have to worry about electrolysis from the marina, don't have to worry about bottom
So
paint.
it's not, okay, so it holds it fully out of
Whole
the
boat
water.
will be out of the, it's like you drove the boat on a dock.
Uh-huh.
And it just has like a little V that it sits in, and there's like plastic PVC tubes almost that keep it from going side to side. There's a lot of the harbor masters up in Massachusetts had their boats on them, their aluminum boats. There's like no maintenance to them. You don't have to paint the bottoms of them. You don't have to take them in and out of the water. They can ice in. They can have growth on them. You just run the boat into it. It doesn't damage it. You just run it right up on, and they've had them for 20, 25 years with no issues. So it's like kind of like the Narrow River crew dock, like that,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Similar thought, a similar concept.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be installed November 17th. That's getting awfully close, and we don't have a lot of cooperation right now with that.
Don't even know where you're gonna put it.
We don't know we don't know. Been assured that this week they've been working diligently to give us the slip assignment. I haven't seen that, and they seem to be wanting to push off the installation of the dock. All it does is tie to the cleats on the floating dock. There's no installation, or if you have pilings, it has the hoops. And they are not being very accommodating right now, to say the least. And concerns about ice and all this stuff. I said, okay, so are we gonna be required to remove it every year then? Crickets. So this is what we're dealing with right now.
Does it require, if you say it has like a ballast system, so it needs power?
Yeah, 110. Yep. Yep, it's just a little air thing, yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's like no maintenance, simple, no lift system, like
How much, yeah.
not
like,
much,
is
because
this
it drops the sternum, so it's just a ramp coming out of the water.
So it's not like you gotta like power on.
No, that's what the ballast is. So instead of it just floating level,
Yeah.
the ballast drops the aft end of it down, and then you drive up onto it, and then you just flip the switch and walk away, and it raises up. But the ballast dumps in like, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds when you're getting ready to leave. It's like almost instant. So yeah, so it may be here next week, it may not be here next week, or 2 weeks. The new boat is being built. I haven't seen any actual photographic evidence of it, but the renderings have all been going back and forth. We've made some minor changes to some things. They're targeting December completion, delivery in January. I haven't heard anything otherwise. Did have some communication on the Narrow River boat ramp that came up. Apparently, so DEM was kind of at a standstill with it. They didn't know what to do with ownership issues that strip along the river. But the Narrow River Preservation Association actually had an attorney do some volunteer work and went and dug up a bunch of stuff, and potentially they found like one of the last remaining heirs. So they kind of thrust that back at DEM and said, here's your stuff, go get to work. So we'll see where that goes. So that's some positive information there, because a few weeks ago I checked in and they said basically we don't have funding and it's not on the list right now because of the property issues. So that may be restarted hopefully. Marina Bay is supposedly working through their CRMC violations for their unpermitted docks with CRMC, so we'll see where that goes. And the state just got they got a SNEP grant to do hydrilla treatment in Indian Lake for 2027. So they'll pick it up at the year after the town, completes. And supposedly the federal delegation is working on and earmark congressional directed spending for treatment at Warden's Pond. So we'll see where that goes. I think that's all I have for you.
Okay, and everybody's favorite, number 9.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?